Check out HelloVanessaMedia.com. Check out store.HelloVanessaMedia.com. Subscribe on Rumble, YouTube, follow on podcasting platforms, and LinkedIn. Hi, my name is Vanessa, and today's video / podcast are going to be about how I filed a U.S. Department of Justice complaint against Harnett County, North Carolina government regarding civil rights violations that have to do with my experiences directly. I filed that complaint today, which is April 21st. I did that afternoon, if I remember correctly. So basically, it has occurred to me that there are probably a lack of, I know there's a lack of information on this topic for some people more than others. And I just thought, you know what? I had to do my own research and figure this out. And so I'm going to share what I learned and what I stumbled upon. And I don't think it's the easiest to find out about, especially if you have a certain situation where there may be, you're not provided with that information from maybe the people that are supposed to be providing you with that information. Maybe not. I don't know. But whatever the case, the situation is, I just want to go ahead and share this. So I'm going to share my screen now and get straight to it. And also, I'm going to give a little bit of context. So this, I guess, before I get too deep into this, is, a situation where it's come to my attention that there's a lot of interesting things going on here in the local government. Long before I got here, there's just a lot of inequity and just things, looking at the federal government. And certainly if you've seen any of my videos on Veterans Health Administration, like I know, and you will know from watching my videos about government dysfunction and things not going well. And it's really important that no matter how small the government entity is, or the government that's being run, local or otherwise, that it's being run like an actual government and not like someone's personal, business or entity or enterprise or organization or whatever the case may be, that it's actually serving the people. And one thing I know to be true here in Harnett County, North Carolina, is there's a number of very dissatisfied constituents, people, and I hope that they're all voting. I have been looking at, there's an election coming up in this area where I'm at right now. March 17th, if I'm not mistaken, is what I saw posted. There's a lot going on in this area, a lot going on in North Carolina. The rural areas in particular seem to be, not really into diversity training. I know Harnett County, North Carolina certainly isn't. I mean, oh my God. I was at a commissioner meeting April 18th. I posted online the snippet of where I was at in it. And I tell you, you want people to, just the looks on some of the looks I got, some of the reactions I got when I said the word diversity, and the word phrase diversity training was really comical, to say the least. It really left quite the impression upon me. Given someone who's had over 20 years of diversity, inclusion, anti-bias training in some way, shape, or form, off and on throughout those years. And I've even I've provided that kind of training as well. So it's just so bizarre to me to be physically located somewhere, living somewhere where, there's no concept of this, a recognition of the need for it, and an outright refusal by certain people, in the government, that are in positions of power, to allow that to move forward. It's just so wild to me. And the culture is such where it really, in my opinion, promotes very discriminatory behavior systemically. And I believe it's very generational as well. And it's just going to keep continuing onward. There's a huge transformation taking place in Harnett County, North Carolina right now, which is a very rural area in a lot of ways, where people are moving in from like New York and New Jersey and Pennsylvania And these are going to be people that are not on board with the mindset that is prevailing currently in Harnett County, North Carolina government, and the lack of just oversight and accountability, and just the way that the experiences I've had with certain departments and the way I've been treated is awful, you know. And I've been through the proper channels, and I just seeing that they just don't really care, some of the people in power that I'm dealing with, that I've dealt with, and are not caring, because people like me don't count, basically. I hit, you may see what I look like, and you may see, oh well, she looks like, this minority, but the reality is I hit a number of minority categories in this community where I live, which basically means that you're underrepresented. Okay. I have zero representation where I'm currently at. I mean, literally, I have zero representation. As far as the government's concerned, like, I don't matter at all. Like, they want my money, but they don't want me here. And that has been made abundantly clear to me. Very clear to me. So, that of the people, that are running things. So, and there's a couple of different levels of local government I'm dealing with. The Harnett County government, I feel, is really challenging to deal with. And they have a lot of different departments, so I haven't interacted with all of them, but I have interacted with one that was a good department, I felt like, but then there was, anyway, so I'm not gonna get into it, but basically, it took me a while to find the form, because the governmental Department of Justice complaint civil rights form, because I did not know existed. And I think it looks new to me, like it may be a new interface, so I don't really know if how new it is, but it looks pretty high tech, pretty impressive. I like it a lot. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add it to the stream and show you. So this is it right here. The website is, and I actually forgot to put this in there. It's civilrights.justice.gov/report, and I'll go ahead and put a banner up right now that says that, so you can see it right there. That's the exact website where you're going to see this web page pop up. So anyone that believes that their civil rights have been violated in certain circumstances can go to this website and file a complaint. It's available to the public here. Now, it gets complicated. There's legal stuff with it. And so you really have to do your own research and figure out what's what. Do your own due diligence here. I had to do my own due diligence, and I still think I'm probably missing stuff in my own situation that I'm not able to quite navigate yet, because life kind of throws you a lot of different things. And this is like one more thing where I'm like, okay, not really quite sure what next steps to take, but I'm definitely figuring it out. And this, for sure, for me, there's no doubt in my mind, like, I made the right decision, because I read the info, I did my research, and it matches up with like what I need to do. Okay, so this is our website. It says United States Department of Justice, contact the Department of Justice to report a civil rights violation. It has 7 steps. It's really user friendly. It says if you believe you or someone else has experienced a civil rights violation, please tell us what happened. And then it gives some information. Contact. You are not required to provide your name or contact information. If you want to remain anonymous, leave the section blank. If you choose to provide your contact information, we will only use it to respond to your submission. I think that's really awesome, because people are really afraid in different situations to maybe report information because of retaliation. It's very real when you're dealing with, humans. Okay, so it has your name. I just filled in, because I'm just doing this as an, show and tell, test, and because I didn't know I could leave it blank to kind of, scroll through it. But yeah, it has a lot of basic contact information: first name, last name, email address, phone number, mailing address. And then it has an interesting question, because they're focusing now. There's an initiative within the Department of Justice to focus on the military community, and to make sure that, they're basically having their rights honored as well, that population, that community of people. So it says, are you now, or have you ever been, an active duty service member? And it is required to answer yes or no, it says. If you're reporting on behalf of someone else, please select their status. Yes, no. It's a check mark thing, little check bubble. Okay, then you click the next one. I click the next one. Like I say, just did this today. It's loading. Let's see. Okay, it's like really quite slow here. Oh, I guess I'll have to do a little bit better on the. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that blank and see if they'll let me kind of click through the form without having to fill that in. Okay. Oh, great. It says you are continuing your complaint without providing email or phone information. It says you do not have to provide contact information. However, we will not be able to contact you for any status updates or potential follow-up. Would you like to add your contact information now? If you prefer not to, you will go to step 2. So I said, no, I don't want to provide it. Okay. So then it asks you your primary concern, whoever is filling out the form. What is your primary reason for contacting the Civil Rights Division? And then it says select the reason that best describes your concern. Each reason lists examples of civil rights violations that may relate to your incident. In another section of this report, you will be able to describe your concern in your own words. So then it has a lot of different categories: workplace discrimination and examples, housing discrimination or harassment and examples, discrimination, basically education related, and examples. The examples are not like the only things that could happen, but they're just to kind of give people an idea of what they're talking about. Law enforcement complaints, and then it has examples. Voting rights complaints, and then examples. Commercial public place discrimination and examples. And then it has something else that happens. So let's just go ahead and click that. That's just easy. I'm going to click that right now. And it basically is to say something other than what's listed, is what basically it's saying. Okay, and then it says, location details. When did, where did this happen? And then it asks you to put in information. So I'm just going to put in test, just make stuff up. Test drive 1, 2, 3, 4. Test, and then I'm going to put in, since I'm talking about North Carolina here. Okay. Got it. Then it says, what are the personal characteristics? Do you believe any of these characteristics influence why you were treated this way? And then it says there are federal and state laws that protect people from discrimination based on their personal characteristics. Here is a list of the most common characteristics that are legally protected. Select any that apply to your incident. And I just emphasize that word legally because civil rights laws in America are super weak. They look like Swiss cheese. I've done videos about this topic. Because I, being a minority, it hits multiple categories, I've dealt with literally discrimination my entire freaking life. You know what I mean? And in multiple forms, not just one or two, or multiple types of discrimination. It's just reality. And so I talk about this stuff openly because it's not going away. I can't ignore it away, and I can't outrun the bigots. It's just a fact. This is a fact of my life. It's a fact of other people's lives. And I'm not the only one in Harnett County, North Carolina that's dealing with these kinds of issues either. Okay, so I'm just going to put other reason, just, well, no, it wants me to type something. So I'm going to click sex, just as a checkbox. But it has a bunch of checkboxes here, tons of them, all different kinds. So I'm not going to read them all. You can go to the website and check it out. Then it says, the date. When did this happen? So I'm just going to put, make something up. January 1st, 1900. Just making stuff up. Okay. So that's the date. And it says personal description. And so this is the most interesting part, because you have 500 words, and it's not characters. They're words. 500 words is what it says at the end of this right here. 500 words. Very tricky, let me tell you. Because I do a lot of editing to get that straight. It took me so long to submit this. I can't even tell you how much just time it took for me to do that. And it wasn't the form. The form's amazing. It was me because I'm was really trying to focus on getting this is just right. Getting it right. Making sure everything looked the way it should look. And was you could legible. They could actually understand what I'm even saying. So yeah, that's what I was doing. Okay, so I'm just going to type in, test, just to kind of get to the next page to show you guys what I'm talking about. So I thought this was pretty cool. It says review your report. This is step 7. And it says, before you submit your report, please check your responses. And then you can go back and edit. You can edit in different sections, which I love. So you can check your contact information. You can edit your primary concern. You can edit your location if you had a typo, your personal characteristics if you realized something you didn't realize before or learned something you didn't know before from your research, the date it happened, and your personal description. And then the magic button says submit report, which I'm obviously not going to do because there's nothing to report there. All right. That was just an example. So then after I submitted it, I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to share because it's actual documentation of my actual report, but it basically said, thank you for submitting your report to Civil Rights Division. Report successfully submitted. It says your record number is. It gives you a record number. That's what it did for me today. And then it says what to expect. Number one, we review your report. This is the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, wrote this and put it out there after I submitted it. Our specialists in the Civil Rights Division carefully read every report to identify civil rights violations, spot trends, and determine if we have authority to help with your report. Our specialists determine the next step. We may decide to open an investigation or take some other action within the legal authority of the Justice Department, collect more information before we can look into your report, or recommend another governmental agency that can properly look into your report. If so, we'll let you know. In some cases, we may determine that we don't have legal authority to handle your report and will recommend that you seek help from a private lawyer or local legal aid organization. 3, when possible, we will follow up with you. And then it gives a lot of information about if they open a case and trying to keep up with people and keep them up to date. And it goes on and on about that. It says, what can you do next? It basically suggests contacting a local legal aid organization. In Harnett County, North Carolina, there is, to the best of my knowledge, no local legal aid organization. If there was, I think they'd be booked, okay? Especially when it comes to this whole civil rights violation issue out here in Harnett County, North Carolina, in my humble opinion. All you have to do is you can go online to YouTube, and it's actually televised. They on YouTube Live, they actually have the commissioner meetings in Harnett County, North Carolina, filmed and then broadcast so that people like myself or you can actually go back and look at the historical, ones. And if you look at the ones from 2021, I mean, I don't know how, I think that they joined 2020, but if you look at them, there's a trend in these complaints from the constituents, from the people, the residents that live in this area in Harnett County. And I noticed a lot of it centers, there's a lot of different ones, don't get me wrong, but there are trends I've noticed. And one of them definitely has to do with civil rights violations. It is a consistent complaint that I see from the local people here. Some of them that obviously, would fall into minority categories because they're not well represented in the community. And then also I've heard about from word of mouth from non-minorities as well, complaining about XYZ, not going to get into those details. So this is something that I have become increasingly aware of through the years I've lived off and on in this county. And I'll be really honest with you, I'm looking forward to leaving. I'm so looking forward to leaving. And but you can't, there's some things you can't outrun in life. And unfortunately, these kinds of ideologies and these attitudes, they're very prevalent. So it's a big problem. Anyway, so that's kind of my overview for tonight about all of this. That's really all I have to say about it. I would just like to say that, if you believe that, your civil rights have been violated in Harnett County, North Carolina, which is, what I'm really talking about here, I would just encourage you to do your research, get engaged in your due diligence. If you have the means and are able to, sure, a lawyer that might be an option, might not be for you. And I kind of laugh because in North Carolina, really in the US in general, I don't really know of that many civil rights lawyers, okay? A lot more are needed, and I don't really know of any of them. Just a laughable situations. You see civil rights or something else with justice, real justice for regular people, and it's just all the lawyers go running. I've seen this a lot in North Carolina. I don't know of a bunch of civil rights lawyers, period. So not really an option for me at all. And I think I saw like one legal aid entity in all of North Carolina, unless there's a new one. But I just looked this up the other day and I think I saw one. And I tried contacting them a long time ago to no avail. So, anyways, whatever the case, this concludes it. This is the website civilrights.justice.gov/report if you want to check that out. And gosh, I wish you all the best, and I hope that things are going well in your life. All right, bye. Check out hellovanessamedia.com. Check out store.hellovanessamedia.com. Subscribe on Rumble, YouTube, follow on podcasting platforms, and LinkedIn.